Bam. Look at, wow, look at 130. Yeah, exactly. 130th episode of the A2 podcast. Yeah, dude. Yeah, we've been at it for a while. And thank you. And what a pleasure to have our first guest from Delaware, Daryl Marston. Welcome to the show. And people know Daryl as a Catholic ghost hunter, but he's a paranormal investigator. And I want to just start off in saying, what's that behind you? Please do not feed the zombies.
It's my office. I got all kinds of movie stuff in here and paranormal stuff, from stuff I've done over the years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And please, so are zombies, like, do you investigate zombies also? Or is it just...
Nah.
All right, cool.
Just a big fan of Walking Dead. Yeah.
All right, man. Tell us, how did you get started as a paranormal investigator?
I got started by, a lot of people don't realize, is I got into it by complete accident. Back in 2005, I actually got invited to a paranormal, like a local paranormal event. It was around Halloween. It was an investigation. I didn't know what to expect. Didn't even know what a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator was at that point. But I've seen some of the shows, before that. They're always interesting to me, but it's not my thing. And went to this Halloween / paranormal investigation, and actually got to experience a half-body apparition. My first investigation ever, man. People wait years to see something like that. And I went in as just an observer, kind of getting led around, didn't know anything about the equipment, the techniques, any of that stuff. And I saw this half-body apparition, and I didn't talk about it. I didn't even tell anybody until several years that went by, and I, spoke out about it. But I knew when I left there that night, I wanted to do this in some aspect. I didn't know how I was going to do it. So I started doing local stuff. I started reading up on it, started following people, and I started doing it myself and investigating locally. That's when I started dating my wife at the time, and she liked it. She'd never done it before either. So we started doing it together for several years until about 2011. I started my own team called Breaking Paranormal, and we're kind of spread out all over the East Coast. So we did a lot of traveling on the East Coast and a little bit out Midwest, and started doing what happened around 2015, 16, I wanted to pull back a little bit from the actual on the road type stuff and investigating, but I didn't know how, because how do I stay in touch with people? So I decided I'd start a live stream. So I started live streaming on YouTube. That lasted for about a year. Then I went to a podcast forum, and then I went to a place called Paranormal Warehouse, where it's basically the largest paranormal live streaming network in the world. And now I'm co-owner of Paranormal Warehouse, and doing Ghost Hunters as well, the TV show, and doing other projects that we're working on. And that's where I'm at today.
Wow, cool. I mean, that's a long journey. I want to start off where you first started off. So you said when you were younger, you didn't really care too much or know too much about it, but then you saw an incident that sparked your curiosity. Yeah, what was? Can you tell us more about it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I went to, I grew up in a haunted house, apparently. I didn't know. I was too young. I just go by the stories that I was told by my parents and my grandparents.
I have a question for you. Do you come from a religious background of any sort? Or
No, never. No. I mean, I believe in a higher power and everything, but I didn't go to church or anything like that. No. But apparently I grew up in this haunted house when I was a child. I was like 5 or 6 when we moved out. I don't remember any of it. So I was always, the curiosity was always there. But you got to remember, back in the 80s, 90s, there wasn't a whole lot of paranormal shows. Like, it wasn't on TV like it is now. So in the early 2000s, all that stuff started coming out and started, gaining ground. And I watched a little bit of it. Like I said, it wasn't a big thing for me. And it wasn't like I sat down every Wednesday night and watched Ghost Hunters or anything. But when I got invited to this paranormal event, it was a free thing. And I said, what the hell, I'll try it out. It was my mom who was going, and she wanted somebody to go with her. So I went with her, and that's when I saw this half-body apparition. And basically what it was only, we were in this place called Fort Delaware, and is basically a prison war camp for during the Civil War. And it's an island. People don't realize Fort Delaware is an island. You have to take a boat to get there. It's the ambiance of it is insane, very spooky, very creepy, especially around Halloween time. So we take this boat. I don't know what to expect. I go there, and we go on this paranormal investigation. It's only like 2.5 hours long, 3 hours. But halfway through it, we're down in these things called the it's basically they call them the it's where they used to keep like all the gunpowder and stuff. I forget what the technical name for it is, but we're down in this place, and the tour guide guy, the paranormal investigator, whoever he was telling us the stories. And I look over, I think it was my stepsister was standing in front of me. I look over her shoulder, and I see this guy standing there in the hallway, but it was only the shoulders up. And I could remember him vaguely, and this is 15 years ago. Very pale, shoulder-length hair, and a beard that was very scraggly and dirty looking. I could still see like the debris in his beard, like the dirt and like the look like leaves and stuff that, and I remember looking at him for like 5 to 10 seconds and him just kind of like sucking back into like shrinking and just disappearing. And that's what I remember. And I thought, like, I'm seeing something. This is crazy. This is not real. And then, but I knew I saw something. And like I said, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody that for several years after that. And, I started doing the investigating, but I finally came out and started talking about it. And I've talked about it on other podcasts and live streams and things of that nature. But yeah, that's what stuck with me, man. And that's what made me want to pursue this. But it was when I was pursuing it, I never wanted to be on TV or anything like that. It was more of a hobby. And that kind of my passion for it kind of led me to where I'm at today. And in 2016 is what really turned my career around. Well, at the time it was a hobby. My son had passed away in 2016, and that really got me to be more professional about this and take it more seriously and start going at it instead of more of an enthusiast or a hobby, more of a kind of a profession, and trying to find, proof of the afterlife. And that's kind of what led me to being on Ghost Hunters and doing the live streams and the podcast and interviewing people. When I was doing it, I was interviewing people from all over the spectrum as far as paranormal investigators go. They're somewhere on TV, somewhere not on TV. And it kind of grew from there, man.
Wow. Do you believe in the afterlife?
But yes, I do believe in the afterlife.
What is the afterlife from your understanding?
For me, the afterlife is just where the energy of our body, our soul. We're all made up of energy. That's where it goes. It has to go somewhere. Energy just it's not going to just disappear when we die. When this vessel we're in, our body dies, that energy has to go somewhere. And to me, that's the afterlife, whatever that may be. I don't think any of us will ever know until we get there, to be honest with you. But I know the things I've captured over the years and the things we've captured on the show with the equipment we use. In my opinion, it points to an afterlife, and it points to that there's something after all this. After we die, this body we're in finally one day just gives up and goes away, and that energy has to go somewhere, man.
Did you believe in the afterlife before you started, or was it a consequence of what you've seen?
It's not something I really thought about, to be honest with you, man. It was just, I was younger, man. I wasn't thinking of the afterlife. I wasn't thinking of things like that. It's something I really, kind of have adopted since then, and and trying to learn more about every day, man. Whether it be just for fun or to kind of in a scientific matter, trying to further the field.
Right, I see. And why? Yeah. So not everyone. So when people, what are ghosts? That's what I'm trying to understand from you. So why do the people's energy stay in this whatever form? Some people stay after they die.
That's one of the big questions. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know. We we don't know if you go to heaven or hell. I mean, that's something we've learned as human beings that's been written down in scripture and the Bible and things of that nature for us, that there's a heaven or hell. I do believe in the afterlife. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to sit here and try to act like I do know what it is. There are no experts in this field. It's anybody tells you that, they're full of it, that they're an expert, because this field changes every day. And there's so much of it, it's a pseudoscience at this point. And there's so much of it that we don't understand. And that's one thing I can say about the show, Ghost Hunters. We try to take it to that next level where we're not using the typical paranormal equipment you buy online, where we're using equipment that's been used in the military, in the scientific field, and NASA, like the MCCD camera and things of that nature, trying to bridge that gap between the pseudoscience and hopefully one day bring it into a science, because we're finding out there's more scientists that are getting more interested in the paranormal field and trying to further that and trying to find out what's going on. Because you got to think of it. It's funny being in the position I'm in. Everybody has a story, man. Everybody has that paranormal story of something that's happened to them, whether it be when they're a child or a week ago. And people approach you all the time. I get messages and social media hits all the time. Man, I got this happening in my house. I don't understand it. What's going on? And everybody's got this story, man. And there's got to be more to it than meets the eye.
Wow.
So part of the scientific exploration, as you said, is there something that you actually managed to quantify to say, well, this is something common between all the ghosts we've seen, all the ghosts that we've encountered?
Well, there's a few things when it comes to different kinds of hauntings. Yeah, you've got, there's the three basic, hauntings, which is residual, intelligent, and like a poltergeist type haunting. And we're seeing, especially in the residual hauntings, which basically residual is just, I don't even, it's a classified as a haunting, but a residual haunting is basically like a tape that keeps playing itself over and over and over again. And it doesn't matter. It can happen once a day. It can happen once a year. It's like if you get up every day at 5 a.m. and you walk down the hallway of your house to go to your car to go to work every day, and you do that for 50 years straight. It's like it's basically a recording caught in time. It just keeps
Groundhog Day. The ghost is doing the same motion over and over again.
Yeah, they don't even know you're there. It's just energy basically moving. And we're finding out a lot that has to do on these residual hauntings are the way what the property is built on, as far as like limestone and quartz and other types of minerals and different types of rock and things of that nature that traps that energy and just keeps playing it back over and over again. That's one of the things that we are kind of piecing together, and we're trying to that's been going on for quite a while now though. So the things that we're working on now is it's not so much is a place haunted, but when it's haunted, why is it haunted? Why are they still here? Why have they not moved on? Why is this haunting always in this particular room or this particular attic or whatever? That's the type of stuff we're kind of working on now.
I see. All right. And you said that's the one type. What are the two other types you said of hauntings?
Intelligent and poltergeist type hauntings. Intelligent basically is when you can sit here and use a recorder, say a Zoom recorder or something of that nature, and you can ask a question and you get an intelligent response back, either audible or on EVP. Or they're responding on your equipment, like the EDIs we use and things of that nature. You're asking a question and it's lighting up for you. That's more of an intelligent type haunting. The poltergeist type hauntings are more the direction they've been going in for years and years and years. These poltergeist type hauntings are that they're caused more by humans than they are by an actual spirit. The thing is with poltergeist type hauntings, the theory is that it's usually caused by a woman who's going through like menopause, or a adolescent child as well who might be going through puberty. is causing these type hauntings. So, I mean, that's a theory on that. We've only dealt with a few poltergeist type cases. They're kind of rare, but when you do get them, it's very interesting to see that activity when it happens. When you can take that person, their house is haunted, things are getting thrown around, and you're thinking, and then you come up with this theory, maybe this is the person who's causing this, and you remove them from the equation, and it goes away, and then you bring them back into the house or the property, and it starts back up again. That's the type of stuff we've been working on.
Wow, that's cool. I want to bring it back a little bit. When did you start growing out that glorious beard of yours?
It's probably about 10 or 15 years. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's changed lengths over the years. I've short, long, longer.
Does it take a lot to like take care of it? Because when my beard gets bushy and it's hard to like comb and
you
stuff.
wake up in the morning, you brush it and throw some beard wax in it and go about your day. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, tell us about your first paranormal experience. So you said you were like just curious about it, right? So you went and you started investigating paranormal incidences once you were younger. First of all, how do you find someone with a paranormal like incident, and how do they report it to you, and and what's your process of going in?
Well, I mean, anymore, I mean, everything's through social media. I mean, between Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, I'm constantly getting messages on them, or through the email services and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you can't help everybody, unfortunately. So you try to, you try to direct them into somebody close to them, and maybe somebody that lives around that area, like a group. There's paranormal teams everywhere now. They're everywhere. Pretty much in every corner, there's a paranormal team. And you try to direct them to someone who maybe personally, who has a good reputation, and knows what they're doing. That way they can maybe get the help they need. Just yesterday, I got hit by a lady from Kentucky who needs help. I'm nowhere near Kentucky, unfortunately, so I'm trying to find somebody for her. I got hit by one that's from Maryland that's not too far from me, probably about 20, 30 minutes away. So I might look into help actually going there and trying to help them a little bit. They're having a child that's seeing something and having conversations with, a man who's supposedly not there. So you gotta you kind of have to think too. Sometimes when you come across these cases and people reach out to you, sometimes you got to make sure to do your due diligence and kind of look into it, because sometimes it might not be paranormal. I don't always. My thing is I'm a skeptic before I'm anything. Even on the show, we'll get these reports and they'll come to us, hey, this place is haunted, blah blah blah. A place is never haunted to me until I get there and I see it for myself. I can listen to all the eyewitness reports and all the witness testimonies and everything, and I kind of compile them and say, okay, well, this is what's going on. And that's when I start investigating the claims. And when I have these claims actually happen, sometimes, they don't happen, or if they do happen, and then I can say, okay, there's definitely something going on here. And then that's when you try to bring it into what class of haunting it is, whether it be, residual or intelligent or, poltergeist type activity. That's when you try to put it into a class. And then sometimes you come across all three of them at the same time. Not always. It's usually your intelligent or residual that you come across. And sometimes they cross paths.
Well, all right, cool. And
do the hauntings happen usually after like someone's death or something, or it doesn't really have
not necessarily?
Oh.
Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, we've been to places, that are like brand new houses that no one's ever died in. It could be something. It could be an attachment. It could be something that has to do with the actual the property itself, the grounds the house is built on. So it's not always, doesn't always have to be the haunted, the haunted looking house in the woods. It could be a house in the middle of a development that's just been built, in the last 5 or 10 years.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine. I'd be terrified. Like if I was in a house and I started, like things started dropping everywhere and I started hearing voices. I
Yeah,
call
it doesn't
Daryl.
always happen like that. That's a little bit of the Hollywood side of it.
Oh, I see. So
Yeah.
what's it? All right. So what are the real problems people are facing? And like, do you help them kick out the ghosts, or do you just help them understand what's going on here?
No, I mean, the second part of that question. No, we go in as complete observers.
Uh-huh.
There's no kicking out the ghosts or anything like that. I don't get that. Not a bouncer for ghosts, but yeah, it's an observation, and you just compile the evidence that you capture, if you capture anything at all, and you kind of put that together. You take it to the client at the end of the investigation. On the show, the investigations, we're there for about a week to 2 weeks, depending on how large the location is. But usually, I mean, there's cases, man, out there that can take anywhere from a day to even years, depending on how severe the case is. But as far as, the way we help them, it's just basically going in there and basically letting them know if they're crazy or not. I mean, it's just compiling the evidence, man, and saying, okay, this is what we captured. You're not crazy.
Yeah.
And so basically, most of the reports you're getting when they're having these paranormal experiences are they're seeing either apparitions, shadow figures, or I call shadow anomalies, because they're not always the form of a person, and a lot of times they'll hear voices, things of that nature, maybe feelings of dread. But a lot of times you can dismiss stuff like that when you go in and start debunking things. Feelings of dread, just because you might have high EMF in your house, faulty wiring, or wiring that's not well insulated can cause EMF, and some people are very sensitive to that.
What's EMF?
Electromagnetic field. Basically, it's actually, when you say, if you go to like everybody has them in your house, like a panel box, electric box, where you have breakers, or excuse me, you have breakers, or the old style type stats. They let EMF. So if you have an older box, even some of the newer boxes, if it's not well shielded, can allow that EMF to kind of seep into into the house or into the property. And there's certain pieces of appliances or electronic equipment that puts off high EMF, like the old style clock radios. The kind, the alarms that you put next to your bed. Yeah, they put off 5G. Yeah.
Those are 5G.
Like the old, like the alarm clocks and things of that nature, they can put off a lot of EMF. TVs can too as well. So you got to watch. Like, people are saying, like, oh, I'm laying in bed at night and I'm starting to hear stuff. Well, first thing I want to check is, when I go into a house and they're saying that this is happening at night when they're sleeping, is you check around the bed. You just make sure there's not a high EMF. There could be a panel box or some kind of something going wrong outside, what's allowing EMF into the house, as far as like the dial stat, like the power company, if it's outside the actual bedroom or something, could be seeping EMF into the room, or outlets around the bed and things of that nature. So that's the type of stuff you look for before you actually start delving into its paranormal.
Yes. All right, cool. All right, so I just imagine, like, you come in, do your investigation, you look around for a week, 2, you're like, okay, lady, you have a ghost in your house. See you later. Good luck. I don't know if I'd rather find out that I'm that I'm imagining things, or find out there's an actual ghost there. How do people react?
Well, not just that. I mean, you got to understand, when it comes 99.9% of the time, if it is paranormal, if you reach that point, it's just a human spirit. I mean, they were human just like us. They're either curious, they're trying to tell you something, or they're just there doing their thing and you're hearing them. So they're 99.9% of the time, they're not there to hurt you or anything like that. And that's one of the things we try to do, is educate the client, or the eyewitnesses, try to educate them on, hey, this is how you can handle this. You can lay down ground rules. If your house is haunted for whatever reason, you can lay down ground rules and say, hey, if this is an intelligent spirit and it's not residual where it's just playing itself over and over again, you can't do anything about that anyway. You can lay down ground rules and say, hey, look, this is my house now. I understand you used to live here, but you've got to, let me have my space and not bother me at night or not bother my kids. And if that doesn't work, I mean, there's other steps you could probably take, but yeah, I mean, that's you try to educate them. We're not there to remove the spirit. We don't do that. That's not what we do. We don't do cleansing or anything of that nature.
Why not? Why not? Yeah, why? Like, are there not people that try to do like exorcisms and ghost hunters, ghostbusters, whatever? Right?
Yeah.
You don't do that. You don't interfere with the afterlife.
I don't even know if that works, man. I mean, I hear it works. People, the people who say that they do it, they swear by it. But then we come in and investigate, and the house is still haunted. So I don't. I don't know if it works or not, man. That's not my thing. That's not what I do.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
I imagine there's like a lot of things that you'll experience when you're doing a paranormal investigation that aren't what you expected, right? So it's very strange. Do you feel like some of it affects you mentally? Do you feel like some of it builds up stress in you? Do you get scared of what you see?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't get scared. I've had jump scares. I mean, been startled and things like that. But it does take a lot out of you. People don't realize it. People joke about this thing called the paranormal hangover. That's real. It takes a lot of energy out of you to do this, especially if you're on a show and you're traveling a lot and you're going to these locations and you're putting in these 12 to 16 hour days investigating and filming and things of that nature. It takes a lot out of your body. It really does. It takes you're tired all the time. Your sleep schedule's all out of whack because you're up all night. And you're doing this, and plus if there is something there, sometimes they can feed off your energy as well, and that can drain you. So yeah, it does. It does take a lot out of you as an investigator.
True. Yeah. You don't even know if you're gonna find something sometimes, right? Like you go in and you're trying day after day, and sometimes you're like, well, there's nothing here. I give up.
Yeah, we've had that. Absolutely. I've run that. You run into that more often than not. Or it's just the activity's not happening when you're there for whatever reason. You can't make it act on cue. But yeah, we've been to investigations where this place is crazy haunted. We've actually seen the evidence. We've seen the video footage, or we've heard the audio that they submit to us and give to us, but we can't get it. Yeah, we've been to. There's a place we went to in Alabama that we were there for a week, man, and all this amazing evidence was happening to the people who lived there. We didn't have one thing happen to us the entire week we were there. Nothing.
Wow.
Have you been to like locations that had some historical significance, or like a location of natural disaster, for example, like where the mass death happened?
Yeah. We've done all that. I mean, most of the places we go to have a very extensive historical background, and we have done some places where there have been some like really bad floods and things like that in the past, where a lot of people had died, and the entire town, like for example, Clifton, Arizona. It was, I mean, a lot of people don't know about anything about Clifton, Arizona, but Clifton, Arizona was basically the bloodiest town in Arizona for many, 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 many years. The only reason Tombstone got the notoriety was, it was actually bloodier in Tombstone. The only reason Tombstone got the notoriety was because of the Earps and Doc Holliday and all that being there. Clifton, Arizona is probably about 2 hours outside of Tombstone, and very bloody place. But also people don't realize that there was 3 major floods there. It's situated down in a valley, and there's a river that runs through that valley called the San Francisco River. And when it would flood, this is all the way up into the 1980s, it would flood the entire town, and they had many, many deaths there over those 3 different floods. This entire town was haunted. We did a town hall meeting there before we started filming, and we literally we had to turn people away, put it that way. We had the building we were in would only seat 120 people, and we had 120 people in there, plus people outside waiting, and every single person that came had a paranormal experience from this town, whether it be from the paranormal, from the people dying from the floods, or from their buildings being haunted from murders and things of that nature that happened there back in the 1800s. It's pretty insane. So yeah, we've done some places like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So if someone's like skeptical about ghosts, or paranormal experiences, would you like send them to like an area like that? You said like most everyone who goes there has some kind of paranormal experience.
Well, the people that live there, yeah. We had a lot of experiences while we were there. We had a lot of stuff happen. We were there. We filmed there for 2 weeks. If somebody wanted a paranormal experience, man, I don't know if I would send them to a place like that. You might want to start out.
Start gentle, right?
Yeah, start out slow and gradually get into it. You don't want to scare somebody away. I would do more of like your local places, like, something in like the tri-state area where you live. Like, you can go online and find these local haunted, like B&Bs and things of that nature, or these haunted houses that are open, all year round, where you can go and investigate and pay a fee. I would do something like that first before I do something huge like there, man.
Do you think some people are more sensitive to paranormal experience than others?
Yeah, absolutely. Some people. I think we all have that third eye. It's just some people are more awakened by it already, and they can pick up on that type stuff a lot easier. I'm sensitive in a way, but I'm not like psychic sensitive. I can go into a location and sometimes I'll pick up on stuff. Like, I just feel like the energy's different in the house or the property. But there's people, are very, very sensitive to it. And from what they say, I can't prove it or disprove it, but, they say they see things and things of that nature, like a lot of your psychics and your mediums and things of that nature. So I do believe there are people who are more sensitive to it than some people are. I think a lot of people, the problem is, we go through life with blinders on, and we just worry about what's in front of us every day, getting up every day, going to work, working your 9-to-5 job, coming home, paying the bills, and that's it. And we don't see the world around us and things that are going on because we're so tied up in everything we're doing in our lives, and we're just not experiencing what's really going on out there.
Cool. I don't know if you've noticed, so you mostly work in the United States. I don't know if you've seen if this applies everywhere around the world. Like, do ghosts behave the same around the world, or is it just? I know.
Yeah, typically, yeah. I mean, from the hauntings you hear about over like in Europe, over in the UK, and all over Europe and all over the world for that matter. It seems like I get people who hit me up literally from all over the world, and it's a lot of the same stories. They're just it's just they use different different wording, the way they describe things, and they might have different names than we use over here in the States, but it's pretty much the same thing that's going on around everywhere. The company I own, Paranormal Warehouse, which is a live streaming network, or streaming network, I should say, for paranormal. We have viewers from all over the world that watch us, and I typically get emails and messages on our social media page from people from the Middle East, Asia, South America, Australia, you name it, with these paranormal experiences. And the same thing with Ghost Hunters, the show. It's actually on every continent in the world. You can see it. So I get messages from people from all these other countries as well. A lot of stuff from South America, a lot of stuff from the UK, all over the United States, and it's always the same thing. They're always having the same type of experiences. Yeah.
But you haven't seen it in a different place so far, right? You've seen it mostly in the United States, like ghosts. Have you had an international?
Yeah. I'm based in the States, and this is where we investigate all over the United States. I've pretty much investigated almost all 50 states except for Hawaii.
Wow. The ghosts in Hawaii.
In the Middle East, there's the idea that ghosts can even haunt people, not just houses and places. So,
Absolutely. Well, that's here too. I mean, there's people who say they're haunted, have attachments or whatever you want to call it. And that's very true. I do believe people can be spirits can be attached to people as well. I mean, you got to figure it like this, guys. Say there's an object in your life that you very much love, like whether it be your car, your house, or your loved ones, and you pass on, and you don't want to leave that behind, or you have unfinished business, or you're very attached to that. It's most likely you're going to try to stick around to find out what happens to it, or make sure it's taken care of. And that's my theory on why people are haunted or objects are haunted, like houses. A house is where like someone's home. I mean, that's a big thing for someone. You buy your first house or your second or 10th house, whatever, and it's the house you love or the house you built, and you live there for 50 or 60 years. You're attached to that property. I mean, that's been part of your life, man. So I could see why houses are haunted. They die, someone dies, passes on, and they don't want to leave their property.
Wow.
would you do you think he'll hang around after?
I hope not. Knowing what I know, I hope I could take that to the afterlife and know better and to move on. But if I did, man, if I stayed around, I'd be messing with people, man. I'd just have to Sorry.
That's funny.
So you'd say part of moving on into the afterlife would have to be in a way where you kind of let go of those attachments that you have so that it's easier to move on.
Yeah, it's material shit, man. You don't you let it go. I mean, you can't take it with you. The only thing I would be concerned about is my family and friends and things of that nature. But it's, hey, they're gonna live their lives, they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and you can't, you just got to keep going, man.
Yeah. I admire that you have this mindset of how you look at your life and how it's rooted in what you do. It's nice to see that there's commonality between what you do and what you believe in. It's very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's cool. And do ghosts ever transition? Like, are there ever like paranormal experiences, and then all of a sudden they stop, and then the ghosts are gone, right? And
absolutely.
Yeah, where do they leave? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's accounts where people have seen things happen in their house, or maybe they're just getting visited by a loved one or someone just passing by. Man, in my opinion, I don't think ghosts, unless it's residual, of course, where it's just stuck in that loop. I think if they're intelligent, they can go anywhere, man. I don't think they're going to stick around in one place. If I was an intelligent spirit, I would not be sticking around in the same property. I'd be moving around. I'd be going down the street, traveling, going wherever I could. I wouldn't be sticking in one place. And I think they come and go as they please. The intelligent ones do.
Wow, cool. And as we're wrapping up here, I want to ask you, what's your favorite like ghost movie?
Ghost movie? Oh, dude. I don't watch a lot of paranormal. I think I think when the paranormal
there's so many, Daryl. There's so many ghost haunting spooky movies.
Yeah, I'm more of a horror guy.
I see.
I love horror movies. The paranormal movies, I like more of the documentary type stuff, the real stuff.
Blair Witch? You mean like that kind of stuff?
That's not. Come on. If anybody believes that shit, man. No, I think when like the Paranormal Activity movies first started coming out back in the late 2000s, I liked them until I started really doing it, and I'm like, oh, this is bullshit. And but yeah, I think that's the ones I would go with. But I'm more of a horror guy. I love horror movies, man. I love the classic horrors, like the stuff in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, so
like Friday the 13th, like those
more of a Halloween guy.
Halloween guy. I see.
Yeah, more of a Halloween guy.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Anything Stephen King, anything John Carpenter, I'm into. I love that type, like The Thing and the Halloween movies and any Stephen King movies. Yes, Pet Cemetery and The Shining and things of that nature. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Cool. I mean, speaking of Pet Cemetery, you brought it up. Can animals turn into paranormal?
I believe they can. I believe
Yeah.
they can stick around. You know,
Mhm.
they're made up of energy too. You got to remember, man, entity or spirit is just energy. That it's leaving that vessel and sticking around or going somewhere. It has to go somewhere.
Yeah. Energy never comes and goes. It
Yeah.
stays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Forever. Mir, is there anything else you want to ask for wrap up?
No, I think from now on, I'm just gonna watch out for my fridge noises. That's about it, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, Daryl, that was a lot of fun having you on. Really, thank you.
Thank you.
I really learned so much, and I hope people listening also learned a lot. And is there anything you want to shout out or say before we wrap up here?
Yeah. Go check out my new series coming out, Epic Haunts. It's going to be on Paranormal Warehouse on YouTube. The new YouTube series coming out. It's a produced YouTube series, so
Nice.
it's done with production and everything value. So go check it out, guys. It'll be out October 9th.
October 9th. What's it called?
Epic Haunts.
Epic Haunts. All right. And can you tell us more about it?
Oh, yeah. Basically, it's a brainchild of myself and my two partners from Paranormal Warehouse. And we decided to do a show where we're actually going around and taking famous YouTubers and having them investigate with us. And we shot our first episode back in June, and we've shot some more stuff since then. And the first episode will be out October 9th. I'm very excited about it.
Well,
very
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Basically, what we do, we allow them to come in and use their equipment that they use on their YouTube series or their shows, and then we show them the way we do things, and we kind of mix all that together, and it's a good time, man.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah.
Do you think what you're discovering in the investigations is actually influencing upcoming movies that have to do with paranormal activity? Do you think people are actually trying to follow the foundations that you're setting for them?
Well, it's funny, yeah. I'm hoping, because the way our show is, our show is a little bit different than some of the paranormal shows, because we take more of a scientific approach to it. Yeah, I hope so, man. It's kind of funny because about 2 weeks ago, I did get hit up by a production company doing a movie that they want me to come in and play myself as a cameo in it. And so it goes to show they probably are watching. And hopefully, like I said, man, hopefully that stuff, we can bridge that gap and start, like I said, take this from a pseudoscience into a science someday. I don't know if we'll see it in my lifetime, but I'm hope that's the direction we're trying to head.
Cool. Like what answers do you think will help bridge it from pseudoscience to science? Like what things we need to find out?
It needs to be more of a controlled environment. It needs to be done over not just a week or two, maybe months, years. It might take to record this type of evidence, and the thing is, whatever you're recording, you have to record it more than once, several times, over and over again, using the right type of equipment, using equipment to use in other fields, like scientific fields. Like if you watch the show, the EMCCD camera we use, the electron multiplying camera, which has been used by NASA and the military for 30 years now, maybe longer. That's something we, Brandon from the show actually brought to the show, and we started using, and we've captured some amazing experiences on it. And basically, if anybody doesn't know what that camera is, basically that camera captures photon events, single photon events. And that's one of the theories out there that these entities or these spirits are made up of photons. And we've captured some of that stuff, and that's the direction we're trying to take it in. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that sounds cool. I really hope sometime in the future we'll be able to make that bridge, because it sounds awesome. And I remember one more thing I want to ask you about. Any UFO stories you want to share?
I personally do not have any UFO stories. Except when we were in New Mexico, we were filming at a place called Fort Stanton, and it actually was about 50 miles from Roswell. And we were having some weird experiences out there. Like some of the eyewitness reports are UFO type phenomenons, and like skinwalker. It was like basically like a skinwalker ranch.
Yeah.
And we had some of these experiences where Mustafa from the show actually we left him out in the desert at one night to film, and he was getting all kinds of like weird lights flying over him and things of that nature. It's something that's really piqued my interest as of late, all because even the government is releasing all this UFO stuff, this footage, and I've been watching some of these documentaries on it, and it's very interesting. It's really it really kind of makes you wonder, man. This stuff's been there's all these conspiracy theories that the government has been dealing with these guys for since the 30s and 40s as far as alien races or UFOs, and man, it really makes you think, and it's something it's really piqued my interest as of especially being home on quarantine. You watching this is pretty cool. I don't really thought about it this way, but it's really neat, man. It really is.
Wow. Yeah, no, it really is cool. And between like the UFO stuff and the paranormal stuff, I'm really thinking there's something more than sky.
It all kind of meshes, man. You got to think of it that way too. It's all kind of it all. There's this fine thread between it all, between the paranormal when it comes to spirits, UFOs, demonology, things of that nature. There's all this fine thread that kind of links it all together. And that's the stuff that really fascinates me, and the occult type stuff and things of that nature. It's all linked in some way, and it's just trying to figure it all out, put the puzzle pieces together, and it's really interesting, man. It really is.
I'm glad I'm not the person going investigating those UFOs. I'm glad you're doing it, so I hope you carry on. Do that. Keep carrying on. I'd love to learn more about, hopefully in the future, things we learn more and more. So thanks, Daryl, for coming on. This was a lot of fun.
You're welcome, guys.
Absolute pleasure, man.
Another episode of the A2 Show. Like, subscribe, share these videos, learn more about the paranormal and stuff. This is how we sign out. Salute to cover the cam, and peace.
Of calligraphy rather than copying what exactly was there, or changing slightly. Or people like, oh wow, I mean. It's interesting. People like different stuff. It's like I'm not a big fan of classic work, so that's why I use different colors, different compositions, different way. But that's my style. That's my opinion.
Amazing. Okay, so let me open up your Instagram right here, and I just have to say, like, wow, did you do this in the back?
Yeah.
Amazing.